research your industry, where you're going to be, what the industry is doing, and finding out the studies on that. That is considered part of your startup costs. So all that looking up and maybe hiring a professional consulting for your business to get all those necessary information, startup costs, everything, even going to an entrepreneur academy, and that's a part of your startup cost. You're paying to get educated to open up a business.
Mm, yeah. So, what do you think? So, what do you think is a best place to start that research?
Well, it depends on what industry you have. The internet is always a good tool, and
Right.
I know there's probably some AI tools that I'm not aware of that can enhance that. But before AI was involved, I would tell the students to go and look it up on the internet and
Right.
start researching. Look for your competition. If you're going to, like I said, I'm going to stick with the restaurant. If you're a restaurant, hey, you go ahead and find your type of restaurant out there in your location. Find out information about that. Um, Regulations. We talked about regulations and stuff. Do you need a business license for that business? Do you need to have a license, permits? Those are part of that
Right.
when it is a startup cost.
Yeah, so I
So,
haven't found a very, very effective tool that gives you that much research, but I will say that if you're using Chat GPT and
mm-hmm,
specifically version 4, um, that gives you a little bit more access to the internet. And so
mm-hmm,
it's a great place to start because it will lay out the steps of what
mm-hmm,
you may need to research, and then you can take it
mm-hmm.
from there to do your own market data.
Absolutely. So when I was starting my own accounting practice, and this was back in '97, what I did was I just befriended other accountants. I
Right.
was an accounting firm, several, and so I started taking forms and understanding how they process. This is kind of the old school way. The internet was there, but we didn't really use it that heavily. I don't remember when I was starting. I based it on other accountants or lawyers or professionals to help me put what I need to do together.
Yeah, and one of the things now that I'm really trying to work on for creators in the space is I really want creators to surround themselves with people with similar interests. So
Right.
we
Mhm.
just left
Right.
a Mina show tonight where our
Mhm.
focus was on business, right?
Mhm.
Coco is planning on developing her own
Oh,
business course,
yeah. I
and
can't wait to
that's
talk to her.
yeah, and it's perfect,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
you have a course, I do certain things in that aspect
Mhm.
without
Mhm.
necessarily having a formal course. But when we have these and coach, of course, who's in our audience. But
Yes.
Mhm.
I think when you put those types of people in the same rooms, it doesn't really matter what the course
Mhm.
looks like, but we all kind of
Mhm.
have an understanding and a
Yes.
foundation of the steps that can be used to help other people become successful. We don't
Correct.
have to trample on each other's toes. We can
Right.
all operate in this space
Mhm.
simultaneously and all attack it
Mhm.
from slightly different angles, and the guests are really going to decide which one might be best for them. So what
Right.
might work for you and your guests might not necessarily work for Coco and her guests, but there are so
Right.
many people in
But
this
they're
place, right?
advisors.
They're
So
right.
you will go to them and hire them, and that's part of your startup cost.
Exactly.
I know when I came in here to build my accounting practice, I hired you to be my consultant because I
Yes,
didn't know
ma'am.
how to talk to what a world. I don't what is this? So I know I hired you, and that was part of my startup cost in my umbrella of startup costs. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
legal advisors, consultants, that's part of your startup cost, guys. So
Mhm.
you there is a line item.
All right.
The
So
others.
do we have a?
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Do we have any questions? Amelia, you have a question?
Oh,
No, I'm sorry. 30 Captain. If you want to ask a question, just hit the red card and then hit confirm, and then it goes global.
there you go.
Okay, I'm
Um,
sorry. She's
okay, I just got a little question. Can kids make their like a little business like a lemonade stand? Like children can make their little own business like a lemonade stand like
you
that?
sh- you sure can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. But we're talking about startup costs. So before you even open up the lemon stand, Got to
Okay.
think about the things that you need to buy in order to start your business. So you need inventory like lemons, right?
Okay.
You need a glasses to serve or paper cups to serve your clients.
Yep.
You need signage. You need to make a sign on your how much you're going to sell it. That the crayons that you're going to buy, the markers, all that is called startup costs. This is before you even collect $1. So you have to
Okay.
figure all those things you need in order to start your business, and that's what we're talking about today. That's
Okay.
a thank you.
Oh, I love that. Love that.
Yes.
Young
That was
entrepreneur.
awesome.
Yes.
That
Yes.
was
Let's give first of all,
great.
let's give some
We need
confetti
that.
for
Yeah,
30
good,
Captain.
very
Good
good.
job.
Very
Yep.
good.
Good job.
Very
Boo.
good,
Good
Captain.
job.
Very good. Hey, Amina.
Hey. Oh, honey, I'm so proud of you. 30
I
30
know.
Captain.
I
I'm so
know.
proud
Thank
of
you.
you. I'm proud of
Thank you.
you. So
Yes.
I rise to say earlier, like I mentioned on the show, that we really have some serious heavy hitters in here. I
Mhm.
look forward to learning from you. And just to hear this little sweet baby ask that
Yep.
question, like,
Yes.
oh my
Yes.
God, like this is what the metaverse is going to be.
Yes.
Yes.
Despite everything else, this is where we're headed. I'm so
Yes.
excited because we can change the narrative. We can change what's happening out there. So
Absolutely.
what I mentioned
Absolutely.
on this show earlier about you guys' wisdom with helping all of us, your leadership. I'm
Yes.
very thankful for all of you. I really want y'all to understand that, okay? You too, coach. I appreciate you. You hear me?
We appreciate you.
Skylar,
Yes. We
thank you for
appreciate all of you.
hanging. You
Yes.
have wisdom. So thank you all.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome. You're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
Now, Skylar, I'm sorry. Skylar, you're sitting in between seats, so you're not really in the seat. So just slide out. Almost there. Almost there.
Put your
Right
your
there.
booty
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
There you go.
Okay.
Yes, you go. Yes, you go.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to continue with startup costs. So, and I'm going to try to reference the young lady's business. Now, the next thing that we need to consider is office space or retail space. So, if you have a business that is requiring an office space or a retail space, all that construction permits, um, the hiring the people that design it, what are they called? Architects.
Architects. Yep.
Architects, yes. All that cost is considered startup costs. There's I mean, I'm not a specialist in that field, but I know we had to pay for a certain license, or architect, an environmental person. For the restaurant we were doing a commissary, and the flow of the water in front of the building had to be documented. We had to pay for a study. It's crazy. So you need to make sure that when we talked about regulations back a couple of weeks ago, that is considered part of your startup costs.
Okay.
Office furniture, your office furniture, the files, the supplies, these are all considered startup costs. Um, Depending on lemon standing, I don't know if you're going to have a storefront, but you have to have seats, probably tables to serve. Those are startup costs. um I'm trying to think of more stuff. If you're a car dealership, you have to have, the building, the forklift or I'm sorry, I'm not
Yeah.
a good person. Whatever the lift for the cars, all
Yeah.
that equipment,
Yep.
that is startup costs. All
Mhm.
this has to be organized for the lender to look and say, okay, yeah, I see what you need. I'll give you that money to start your business. So that's office related stuff.
Yeah.
Office and retail space.
So, Captain, if you have another question, hit your chair and get elevated.
Okay, I have another question. Can kids have other business, like not like lemonade stand, like sell old stuff they don't need like that, like a yard sale,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You
and make
and here's the
clothes.
thing, Captain. You can
Yes.
have any business that you feel that serves your purpose. So
Okay.
anything that you want to do, if with enough planning and put your mind to it, you can do
Mhm.
absolutely any business because these things exist, right? Have you ever been to a
Mhm.
yard sale before?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so reselling is a huge business now with people who don't necessarily need their things. They don't want to put it in the trash, but they may realize they may want to sell it to somebody else for a slight profit. So yes, you absolutely can.
Okay. There's one more question.
Sure.
Um, what happens? Do you have them try to make? Oh my God. Do you try to make somebody? Do you? Can you have a make a little container for your money, and have a piggy bank like that?
You could, or you can put it in a bank.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she's already thinking about the profits. I like her.
She
Yeah.
really
I am
is. I
blown away.
know.
You need to come to our class. We're going to make sure whatever business you want, we're going to help you create that business idea and make sure you're successful.
There's one more question. It's not a question, but I do have school Monday for Friday. Can we try to do on the weekends?
Absolutely. I got you, girl. I got you.
All right, but
We'll
you
be
know what?
there for you.
Let me stop for a second though, because I want to address it because this is really important. So
This
first of all,
is
Captain,
good.
thank you. But Captain, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
9.
Mm.
Okay, well, first of all, you're not supposed
9.
to be in here. Did your mama know you're in here? You're supposed to be 13.
Uh,
It's
Well,
okay.
you know what? It's
We
okay.
got you.
After I just came home, I just got on the PR after I just came home.
Okay.
All
That's
right.
not a
Well,
problem.
you're in a safe space, but let me address something. So at 9 years old, one, she's had an idea for a business.
Yes.
She's formulating an idea to see what's possible in here,
Yes.
and she's already thinking about what to do with her profits.
That's
Yes.
Like,
right. That's right.
as many people as I talk to sometimes, a lot of
Mhm.
times those people aren't even that far into their formulation of what can happen in here. So
And
uh,
they're 49, 59, 69.
right, 62, 85. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's but I think sometimes that's why this space is so refreshing, or sometimes just the innocence of not knowing, because you don't know what those limitations are. You haven't been beaten down by things and people that tell you that is not possible, because anything is possible if you put your mind to it. Absolutely anything. I mean, we've gone to the moon, we've gone to the bottom of the sea, we've created things from absolutely nothing. So anything is possible if you want it to happen. So awesome job.
right.
I'm so
I think
proud
it's
right now.
divine order too. You know, you never know who comes in your spirit.
Yeah.
And I know me and you already thinking like we got this girl because this girl's going far. So
I mean, that
you
could
know, I'm
be
inspired.
that could be the next Barbara Gates we're talking to.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
That's
Trillica
right.
Bezos.
That's right.
You know,
Mhm,
that's how it starts. Yeah. Awesome job.
Yes, you keep on going. You keep on going.
Yay.
That's
Okay,
awesome. I think
another item that we need to know that
Yep.
could be startup costs is technical, IT and everything, the infrastructure for that. Sometimes you need to buy all these softwares, your POS system, your CRM system. You know, I hope I didn't. Did you? Okay, I
No,
thought
we're
I
good.
was stuck
No,
again.
no, you're good. You're good.
Your all your software systems, all your IT stuff, telephone systems are now like VoIP systems. Um, all that is startup costs. You need whatever you need to start your business in the techie side. You need to throw that in as a line item in your business plan as startup cost. And I know you probably have so much AI stuff now that's being incorporated.
Yeah.
And like Coco said, that's what she does. She has a lot of systems that she put together to help her, do her scheduling, her task, and everything. And that's important when you're starting a business, and
Yeah.
that's part of your startup.
And I
Mhm.
find with the AI tools, right? Because I think it's important for people to start incorporating the things that will make their job easier. And that's really how we should be looking at AI right now. Don't look at AI like it's a Terminator, because the system itself is not inherently evil. It's the people that use it in the wrong way that makes it evil. And you can relate that to anything. You can relate that to the banking system, politics, money, right?
Yes.
Those things aren't inherently evil. It's how they're being used by the people. So hopefully we can keep these things in good standing by having good
Yes.
people use those technologies. But for you all, don't let that stop you from using those tools, because those tools will save you a ton of time, and that
Yeah.
time can now be focused and redirected into growing your business.
Okay.
So
Okay.
as the young lady with the lemon stand, she's going to need a POS system to record her
will.
sales,
Yeah.
to collect the money, and then she's going to need accounting software to account for that.
Yeah.
When you're putting your money in the bank, you need to have records, and so that's part of some of the systems that Miss Lady with the lemonade stand, that's going to be the next, Miss Gates. We're going to make sure that we have that together for her.
Yep. Coach, you're on mute, by the way, Coach.
Well, to 30/30 Captain, I can see the movie now from Lemonade Stand to Wall Street. You know,
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Cover of Forbes, Black
Yes.
Enterprise, all of the above, right? That's
Yeah.
how it
That's right.
starts.
but
It starts with a dream.
my question is, in a business, and I see you all are covering we used to call the back end systems, the CRM, the POS system,
Right.
startup costs. But how do we address the value proposition of why should I choose your business? How do we address that? What?
Mm.
Good
As
question.
an investor
Yeah.
investing in someone,
Well, yeah,
Um,
well, no, as a client or a potential customer. So if you've started your business and you're set up, why should I choose your business over the business down the street? So how do you address the value proposition
Oh
of your
yeah,
business?
so we talked about that.
Mhm.
That was in one of our episodes. So tell me, what do you think? So why me? So let's just say, for instance, we both have a lemonade stand,
Mhm.
right? Is that what you're saying? Why would you choose my lemonade stand or Jen's lemonade stand
Yes.
for your decision making? Yeah. So
Mhm.
so what do you think,
Oh
Jen?
my God, that's a complex kind of thing. Well, first of all, I don't know what what you want to see in a business. I can have a different type of lemonade stands that
Mhm.
maybe has a niche. Maybe my niche is you buy one lemonade, you get two free, or you buy a lemonade stand, you get a special umbrella with it. His niche could be totally different. His lemonade
Mhm.
Could be
stand is,
pricing. I sell it for
it could
50
be
cents and she
pricing.
sells it for $1.
I
Okay.
might have an area that is, calming couches. He just might have just a stand in the corner of the street. So it depends on what your criteria and what you want to see in a lemon stand. We could be selling the same lemonade, but it's like
Okay.
McDonald's and Burger King. They're both selling hamburgers, right? But
Mhm.
McDonald's has a niche, and Burger King has a niche. Like Popeyes and Chick-fil-A. They have
Mhm.
a unique niche and a taste to each other. So it's really the customers, what you feel that, what's your criteria, and that's how you choose. So our valuation can be based on what we want and what
Mhm.
we develop in our business. That's
Yeah,
how I can explain it.
And plus, I
Okay.
think,
So.
I think you have to be really targeted about who your customer is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
if I look
right.
at what I do here in the metaverse, obviously I do very
Cap-
similar things
Captain.
to a lot of
Still.
people who are starting businesses or
Okay.
bringing businesses in here. So how I like to describe it from somebody that I follow, who I trust, is what is your moat, right? What is the thing that separates you from the business? So for me,
Mhm.
I am a very good entry point for a lot of people when they
Mhm.
come into the metaverse, right? I have a
Yes,
pretty
Right.
expansive network.
absolutely.
I have a pretty in-depth knowledge base, and I can lead people to the right connections in order for them
Correct.
to continue their process and grow.
Mhm.
Now, can I take somebody from the very start to the very finish? Absolutely, because I have the tools and resources to do so.
Okay.
But I found that my niche really is that initial stage, or that stage where somebody gets stuck in their development and they just need a little bit of guidance. They need to a slightly different strategy in order to continue their journey to become successful. Right mode, right
Yeah.
experience. I don't know
Well,
of
I
another.
do have a unique way of doing taxes and my accounting. I'm not the
Right.
typical accountant. I take my time to educate during
Sure.
deliverance of product. So if I'm doing your tax return, I don't just give you your tax return and say sign here. I
Right.
like go through the line items and make sure that my customer understands. If I have a client that like I say the restaurant world, I'll say that
Mhm.
when I take on a client, I get into the business and actually do all the jobs to understand my client's product.
Right.
So I don't just come in here and blast and tell them what to do. I kind of take a month and I analyze the business. And before I even come to the table and bring them what the solutions are, or let me, I see this and that and whatever it is. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can still, you're
Okay,
coined out, but I can still hear you.
yeah, I'm
Okay.
frozen. Okay, I can still hear you though.
Well,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
second part of my question is then, at what stage of the? Oh wow, can you still hear me?
Yes.
No, you got to get in
Yeah.
the car. I mean, get in the car.
In the car.
Get in the
Get in the-
seat, please.
Yes,
That's
ma'am, I'm in
hilarious.
the car.
Okay, there you go.
Get in the car seat and get it. There you go.
And at what stage of the planning process do I do my market research to determine how to position my value proposition?
Yes, that's my next line item as a startup
Okay.
cost is
Mhm.
that marketing plan. You need to
Yeah.
do it before you even launch your business.
Yeah.
You need to do your studies. I always go for the professionals. I stay in my lane. So when I am advising a client in regards to the marketing and advertising, I bring those bad boys in. I stay in my lane. I know what I do best, and those people need to
Yes.
come in and it's like with MetaClean. He has resources of people that could do certain scripting in the world, certain
Mhm.
way of building. Same way in the accounting world or business world, you will bring
Mhm.
those specialists in, the marketing specialists, the advertising specialists, the social media marketing specialists, and bring them to the table. That's when you'll discuss and figure out what you can afford, what is the strategy, who is your customers. So before we put together your startup costs, we have already started to research who our customer is, where they live,
Right.
what is their gender, what is their how much they make. So that was week 2 when we described who is your customer. So based on that information and you developed who your target market is, then you can develop a marketing strategy and
Right.
marketing plan and advertising. Because you don't want, if you're selling Pampers, you're not going to be selling it to teenagers. You're going to be selling Pampers to moms and dads that have
Hopefully.
infants and kids. Yeah, hopefully.
It's 2023,
You know,
but hopefully. Yeah.
In my class, I develop a chicken concept. And so, there's a lot of chicken restaurants. There's Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, KFC, Church's Chicken. But my chicken is a chicken on a stick. So this is for
Mhm.
people that are on the go, and my restaurants are going to be located right off the highway. These
Yeah.
are people that are on the go. This is not my customer is the one that is not really coming to my restaurant to sit down and have a meal. They're on the go. So I have a stick that you can get a fried chicken on a stick and go. So I research who my customer is, and then I will advertise and put my marketing dollars towards that avenue.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely. And plus, it's and let's be realistic, right? Everybody as a potential customer.
Mhm.
But it is very expensive to decide who your customer is after you've built something. So in the metaverse, it's a little easier because all it really costs us is time. But even in the development, you may have to change your strategies a little bit if you don't target the right customer. And yes, it can be done, but we're just
Mhm.
trying to save you money in the process by trying to do as much research up front.
There you go. I like
Right,
that.
your
Okay.
center that you have for military-minded people, military
Yeah,
people. I mean,
great example.
that's your customer. So if you want to bring people to your um your world, you're going to really hit that community. You're going to put your marketing dollars in that community. Where does the military, what do they do? How do they walk this earth? And the common
Right.
things they do, that's where you're going to put your dollars for marketing at.
Okay.
So, when doing your business plan and startup cost, and now you're putting the numbers together, I would recommend that you definitely speak to a specialist in that field,
Mhm.
especially if you're going to be putting some weight behind that dollar figure.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I like this.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
All right, Jen,
yeah.
so you continue. I'm actually going to have to come back because I am stuck in this crane mode and I can't turn around and I can't see the audience. So continue and I'll be back in just a second.
All right, wonderful.
Uh,
All right, so we just talked about marketing and advertising. Another startup cost is the initial inventory or raw material. So depending, Miss Lady with the lemonade stand, her raw material, her inventory is going to be lemons, water, ice. You need to know what you need before you start your business. If you do need inventory. So manufacturing companies, those are raw material. If you're running a GM, General Motors, they have raw materials so that they could put a car together. They have to assume how much they want to, develop, and that budget is created. And so then the raw materials is a line item. And so you need to do a
Mhm.
little bit more research on how many lemonade customers you're going to have or be able to sell. You also need to keep in mind storage. So if you have a product and you're selling a product like Miss B and she sells her products, she's located at her home. So she is limited on the inventory amount that she can buy. So be careful. I made a mistake one time with this Christian comedian. I'll never forget this, and I'll never do this again. He did a DVD. This is back in the days. I'm dating myself. Was it a VHS or DVD? I think it was a VHS. Yeah. And he did his comedy show. So he was starting up and he purchased all the VHSs. And so then he needed a space for storage. So I said, okay, well, why don't you send it to my house? I got some room. He was like, okay. Okay. I got pallets. I didn't know what a pallet was. Okay, yeah, no
Oh
problem.
my
And
God.
then all of a sudden, here comes an 18-wheeler truck pulling into my driveway, and the pallets of the
Oh my
VHS was
God.
coming, and oh my God, I had to put a maze in my house because I did not realize what a pallet was and how much inventory it was. So I never do that again. I'll never do that again.
No,
So
that was
yeah,
funny.
knowing your inventory amounts and what you need is important, and that should be a line item. So listen, if you need storage, you're acquiring a storage, putting down a deposit is all startup costs. Deposits are startup costs. Utilities, your lease, your rent, those are considered startup costs as well. So we just went over inventory. Welcome back.
Yes, that could be a huge drain on your profits.
Mm-hmm.
Incorrect inventory
Yes,
levels. Yes,
yes,
especially food industry. So
yes,
yeah,
definitely. Another startup cost is staffing. You need to really figure out, you might have to hire staff, employees, or contractors prior to opening up your business. You need them to maybe help set up places, do some prior work to the grand opening. And then after a little bit, maybe a month or two of payroll, before you start reaping revenues. So you need to calculate how much time you need for this employee before you start really making money. And that's considered startup cost. So I know in a restaurant, and I'll keep it there, as I said, staff is starts before the doors open. And there's soft openings, meaning they'll test out the menus,
Mm-hmm.
they'll, all that is startup costs. And you need to have that there for that. So startup costs is very important for contractors or professionals and
Yep,
employees.
absolutely. Captain, I'm sorry, you had a question. You have another question for us?
Yes, I do. If your friend has a stand too, um, can you give them a tip like that, and both of you can help each other's business? Like if you like helping other business, if your friend has a business, you can help each other, right?
Absolutely. Boy, it's amazing. This
So,
is
so,
I
so
know,
amazing.
is she
isn't
talking
it?
about franchising without even talking about franchising already?
Wow. Wow.
Yes, yes.
Amazing.
I'm blown away. I really am blown away.
Yeah.
Is that what you do? Just stock your
Yes,
feed?
yes, you
Just stock
can.
your feed and see what's on there?
Yes, you can with a friend
What's that?
How you
and
do?
be able to do your brand
Stock your
across.
feed
You
and
know,
see
if
who's here.
she's 2 blocks over, yeah, you can have the
Somebody
same
sent me an
lemonade
invite, and I was
stand
still
and
hoping
then
to send me
team
an
up with
invite.
your partner
So I
and
just
share
wanted
the
to see again.
revenues. More, McDonald's is all over the place, right?
Yep.
So, those are different owners. They all share the benefit of having the commercial on TV. Everybody wins. So yes, you can definitely do that. Wow.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm speechless.
Yeah. Yeah. Keeps getting better and better.
It is
Oh my
amazing.
God.
Yeah.
Insurance coverage and stuff before you even start a business. That's important to have. That's part of your startup cost, from liability to key man's insurance um, to insurance on products, insurance on food, selling
Now,
food and
now,
lemonade, stuff like that.
key man insurance. What is that?
Key man insurance is really insurance on your key person that helps
Hmm.
you really dictate and move your revenue. So it could be the CFO or somebody that's high ranked in your business, that losing that person could really affect your cash flow.
Wow. Okay.
I had
Wow.
my last place I worked at Heat Track, I was the controller there. One of the production managers, he was a very key person. He did the swing sets and ordered the wood and stuff. He was really
Right.
managing that. Unfortunately, he climbed up to get something and he fell off
Ooh.
and cracked his head. Thank God he was alive, but he was in the hospital. He was a
Wow.
key person. He had all the tools to order product, to move stuff. So if you have Keyman's insurance there, it allows you to reap money, income, so that you can replace them or the loss of possible sales
Wow.
because that person's down. So Keyman insurance, you really have to know who in your organizational chart, your employees that we talked about last week, who are those key people that if they're gone, it definitely would affect your revenue.
Wow. Okay. That's good to know. It's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah. So um that's so insurance, all types of insurance. Usually you have to put a deposit down for insurance or pay it out. So you need to add that as your startup cost.
All
And
right.
that's part of your researching all that. Transportation, shipping, depending on your business. You may have to prepay stuff. I know if you're ordering food, you have to pay for, or let's go with the heat track. We had swing sets, and we had to pay for the wood prior to the season start. So the season's in the summertime, of course. So
Right.
we're ordering the inventory in the winter. So if you're starting that type of business, you need to make sure that you're covering shipping costs for that. Transportation, you may need cars. Let's say you have um, cars that you need to deliver stuff.
Right.
UPS, let's say all those trucks, before they even started UPS, they had to buy and have a fleet of vehicles. That's
Right.
startup cost.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Captain, you have another question for us?
Yeah, I have two questions. I'm gonna start with the first one. If you made your own stand in the kid, if the kids made their own stand and the parents help, do you still gotta do the science or no?
Do you still have to do the what?
Science, like the bills, like that, to get the food.
The signs.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
if you're the owner, then your parents will either become co-owners or employees. So, but everything that you have to do to get your lemonade stand going, you still have to do.
Yes.
Okay, my second question is, if you can put your stand anywhere, right?
No. You have to
Oh.
make sure that based on your location, if you live, sometimes you have to make sure that the regulations, you have to check to see if you can have a stand on your street. So you have to go to your city government or whatever
Okay.
jurisdictions you live, and make sure that you might need a permit to have a lemonade stand on your street. So you need to make sure that you check that out before you
Okay.
even open up, or else they could come and shut you down. So
Okay. Thank you for telling me that.
Yes, I mean, such good question. So now she just asked a payroll question.
I am so
Like
speechless. Like, this
I'm
is
blown away
crazy.
because none of her questions are the same question, but it's a different part
No,
of the business as she's
I
thinking
love
through
it.
this.
I
Yeah,
love it. I
that's
love
so
it.
she's already going to use her parents as employees. Isn't that something?
Amazing. Amazing.
Good stuff,
So,
Captain.
to wrap up startup costs for business, these are brand new businesses. There might be some other miscellaneous costs. Like if you have a lemonade franchise, let's go with that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Franchise, you would have to, well, any kind of franchise, they ask you to travel to their headquarters for training. So hotel, airlines,
Mhm.
car, gas, all that stuff to be there for a week, training, meals, that's all startup costs.
Yeah.
So those miscellaneous stuff are considered startup costs.
Yeah, and it's really important to think about all of these things before you get started because you can
Mhm.
think you have enough money, and I can tell you from somebody that started a business and didn't think it all the way through, right? Which is why I'm here to try and help some people's pain points. You realize you get to a certain level, and it's just like I did not account for this money, and I don't have it. So now I'm either
Mhm.
going to have to start my business, right?
Mhm.
Not being fully prepared so I can get funding or come out of my own pocket to fill the gaps when if I would have thought about that stuff beforehand, I would have been more prepared, which might have meant I might have had to wait another month before that funding is secured to start, right? So starting too
Yes.
Mhm.
early sometimes can be a detriment if you haven't thought about all of those things. But if you
Mhm.
have thought about every single step of your business,
Mhm.
which is why it's good to have a professional in your
Mhm.
corner to think about the
Mhm.
things you don't think about, you can be really prepared. And the goal isn't to start a business and wish it's going to be successful. If you've
Yeah.
done all of your research correctly, by the time you open the door, it should be successful because you're in the
Yes.
right space, you have the right customer, you have the right inventory,
Mhm.
you have the right flow. We shouldn't be figuring this stuff out 6 months after starting our business
Mhm.
because really
Mhm.
that's why most businesses fail in the first year because they
Right.
haven't thought about every single step.
And usually the business plans that fail, the most important document besides projections is that startup cost.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, that's the first thing I do when I open up a business plan and I'm reading blah, blah, blah. I go right to the startup cost because that is telling me if you did your research.
Right.
I could calculate and look at I'm not even looking at the projections because those are projections.
Right.
That's if you have everything that you need to start and then you have your target customer. I look at the startup cost. This is the amount that you're asking an investor, a banker for,
Mm-hmm.
the bottom line number. Or a grant. I just had a young lady that went through the class. She's actually fully blind, and I taught her how to start her business. She's a
Wow.
voiceover business, and so she was filing for a grant because of her disability. There's
Yeah.
grants out there. And so we had her startup cost of what the equipment that she needs for voiceover and stuff like that. And they went right to that document
Wow.
and said, they questioned, okay, so what kind of computer are you using? What kind of program are you using?
Wow.
And they went and did research on what that average cost was.
Yeah.
Little did they know that I helped her do the stuff. So, we just went flying colors to prove.
We're good.
But yeah, you have to do you can't just pull numbers out of the sky
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
just
they have to be real numbers.
put it on there.
Right. Right.
That is a deal breaker right there. If you don't know, and these people that invest in your business or
Mm-hmm.
bankers that invest in your business, they know.
Yeah.
They've seen this stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
So
And
just be mindful of that.
it's
Mhm.
difficult because we have a perception of what cost should be, and you'd be surprised at the things that are a lot more expensive than you anticipate, and the
Mhm.
things you can actually might be able to, or they may seem outwardly expensive,
Mhm.
but aren't really that expensive when you put it in perspective in accordance to your business. Yeah, it is really eye opening if you're not careful. But if you're not careful and you don't do the proper research, then you're starting from scratch behind the eight ball, and you don't ever want to start there with a struggle.
Yeah,
It's hard enough
definitely.
starting a business as it is. You definitely
Yeah.
don't want to start not being prepared.
Now, here's the second portion, the second section of startup costs, and these costs is, let's say you're in business now. You've been in business for a couple of years. Now you want to expand and you need to go get a loan from your bank. So expansion is important too, to put those numbers together and isolate those expansion numbers. So expansion
Mhm.
is another way of asking for funding, and you will need to put those numbers together. So expansion could be from work capital, of course, temporary cash flow, to maybe shut down. And let's say you want to revamp your location, your restaurant. You need to cover your employees' expenses for the 2 months that is in construction. And so that's part of the expansion package, the 2 months rent that you have to pay, and then the construction costs. So that's another document that you need to put together in order for ask for funding, and
Wow.
that's the expansions. Other things such as research and development. So let's say you sell products. Let's say she's a lemonade. Now she wants to, I'm going to do a strawberry lemonade. She has to do her pricing. So now she has to incorporate now adding new inventory to her business and develop maybe a unique cup that's different from her regular lemonade, new signage now.
Yeah.
It's now not just lemonade stand, it's lemonade and strawberry stand.
Yeah.
And so all that you can put that in a budget and then ask for the bank or lenders, hey, I'm expanding my business and I need this much money to get it done.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Uh-oh.
something else to think about, a different type of inventory structure, right? Because
Yes.
strawberries don't last as long as lemonade. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Good job. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just got, when you say the lemon and strawberry stand, that gave me a nice idea. Like I can mix fruits and make a flavor kind. I can ask what kind of flavor they want. Oh no, my bad. Give me a second, my bad. My bad. Okay, I was trying to say is the thing you said. Oh my god. Okay, the thing you said about lemonade, strawberry. That gave me
strawberries,
a whole new idea.
Yes.
That gave me like I can mix fruit together. I can tell them what kind of fruit you want in your drink.
Right.
Then what kind of fruit they want. I can make it and give it to them.
Yes, but
Yeah.
what you need to do, which you definitely hit on, is if you're going to add additional, fruit to your lemonades, you need to know which fruit is in season.
Okay.
So,
That give me
and you got to
Good.
keep that in mind because, I'm not a fruit person, but there's certain fruits that are just out. Like cherries are out right now. I think I
Yeah.
see cherries out.
Yeah.
Cherries
And you
are
can
out
charge
now.
them more money. You can charge
Yes.
more money with more fruit.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
I got a second question. In the winter, can you sell hot food?
Yeah, that's
Like
what I'm
that-
saying. That's an expansion of your lemonade business. Now you're going to add another type of product, which
Okay.
now, if you're trying to capitalize on lemonade, you need to really think that do you have that market for people who like hot stuff? So you got to be careful on how you expand. You need to do your research. You need to probably ask your customers, hey, if I have hot cocoa, would you come and buy the hot cocoa too? So you're going to have to, before you do anything, you need to do your research. You need to talk to your customers. You need to figure all that out before you go ahead and add a product right away.
And I got
So-
one more.
Well, Captain, let me ask you a question. So think about it like this. So what's the best time to eat ice cream, in the wintertime or in the summertime?
The summer, because it's hot out. If you
Right,
eat ice cream in the summer, you can cool off.
right. And what's the best time to drink hot cocoa, in the summertime or the wintertime?
Winter, because it's hot cocoa, it might cool you off. Oh my god.
Warm you
Warm
up.
you
Yeah,
up.
that's
understand.
right.
Warm you up, but we
And
understand.
I got one more question. If you close and you got left over, can you sell it to the orphans and to the poor people?
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my
You know
gosh,
what?
she is-
Is she catfishing us?
Wow.
Kinda.
Yes,
I don't
yes. So listen to me. Yes, that is possible. That's further
And that's a
research. You'll
tax
research
write-off.
on those.
God.
Yes, you will research on those organization, and there is a thing, an incentive of a tax deduction, tax write-off, which is a little bit advanced. But yes, I love how you're thinking, man. You just not. I mean, I'm blown away.
She's hitting every
I-
single corner of her business
I'm
plan.
blown away. Yeah.
So what do we
She
do with the
really is.
excess inventory? What do we
This
do with
is-
the
this
excess
is-
inventory?
I'm
So
just-
listen, have you ever heard of the outlet malls or TJ Maxx? Have you ever been to an outlet mall to buy
No.
clothes? No. Have you ever been to TJ
Ross.
Maxx or Ross for less?
Yeah.
No.
No. Oh yeah, she might be a little young for some of
Yeah.
that stuff. Yeah.
No, food is a little different. There is a
Mhm.
lifespan situation. So
Yes.
and then there's rules and regulations. You can't just donate food.
Yeah.
There's certain regulations and stuff. Like I say, once again, you're gonna have to find out in your jurisdiction and wherever you live, what are the rules when it comes to excess of food, how to handle that. If you're able to donate it to a nonprofit, then you can go find one, make a contract with them. They'll come pick up the excess and stuff like that. But if your state says no, you can't, you got to trash it. Unfortunately, you got to trash it. So,
What
yeah.
about you can have it at home? If you can't, if your state said no, can you just have it for dinner, lunch?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, you can.
Okay. And then you gotta think what kind of food is good for what season is good to sell food like that.
Very good. Very
Absolutely.
good.
Yes.
I'm just that small. I'm really good
You're
at
so
school.
smart. You are so smart. I'm
I'm
telling
good at
you.
school.
Great job.
You are.
I
You
can
are.
tell.
Yeah.
Math
You
is
asked
an
all the
easy
right
one.
questions.
Math,
wanna
I like
give-
math.
I want to give you
Yeah.
a shout out for your parents because I think they have a phenomenal person in their house. I mean, I hope your
Oh.
parents know how great you are.
Found
All
it.
they have to do,
Okay.
big ups to your parents.
Awesome job. Awesome job.
Awesome.
I am so impressed with her. I really am. I really am.
I'm ready to invest with her.
Invest with her now. I'm telling you.
Right?
And she
Seriously.
does it so naturally. This is a little bit off topic, but it's a question that I'm really curious about. Once you've gotten your business concept together and you've gotten your business plan and you've gotten all of the components that you spoke about, like the marketing plan and how you tend to move forward.
Yes.
My question is, do you have to have a proven business before you go to the bank and say, listen, I want to open up an office here and I want to start my business in this area? So if I'm not doing a restaurant or anything like that. But I guess my question
A
is,
proven business. Okay.
do you have to
let's
have a
break this
proven
down. No,
Right.
you don't have to have a proven business. I didn't have to have a prior accounting firm, but it is a
Mhm.
plus if you have worked in that industry. So
Right.
Mhm.
I worked in 2 major accounting practices before I did my own.
Gotcha.
So
Right.
they're looking at that really. The lender is looking at that kind of connection because then they'll know it's more profitable to invest in you because you already been there.
Right.
Gotcha. Right.
And stuff. Even in the restaurant world, if you was a manager, an employee, but you've been in the restaurant world for 10 years, you
Mhm.
already have, some education. Education is another thing. Let's say you got a master's degree or bachelor's degree in that field. Let's say you want to be a dentist, so you got a degree in dental, whatever that is called. I don't know. I don't even know.
Dentistry.
Dentistry, yes. That's another thing that they look at and measure. Oh, she went to school for that. Yeah, okay, she could
Right.
possibly have a business, but the thing will be like, have you ever worked there? That's a plus. If you haven't, they might not think that you're ideally a person to invest in. So, or license. If you're coaching, I know you're going for your licenses.
Right.
So let's say you got it and you're ready to do a business, that's a plus.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
a plus.
So,
Okay,
so I
I
look at
gotcha.
it from the mindset of an investor, right? Because I actually do some investing in the physical world. So, things I look at when I look at a company, because you can invest your money wherever you want to, but I want to invest my money with people that understand and know their business. So, if I'm going to give you money, I want to know who's managing it. What's your long-term vision? Have you been profitable? If you've been in this business for a little while, what other businesses were you affiliated with? Because I may
Right.
not want to hire a CEO from or a board exec from Enron
Right.
because right because we know that's a failed company, right?
Sure. Right.
And it's not a company that folded because of a change in economy. It was just a bad company to invest in. So the same people that manage that, right? Obviously, they didn't just disappear. Where did those people go? Do we know where
True.
where
They
those
went to
people went
jail.
to? Yeah, right. So
Sorry.
from looking at that
Oh my
point, and
God.
just imagine if somebody came and asked you, hey, I need to borrow $100 because I want to start my electronics business. but
Right.
they've never been in electronics business, so they don't understand what
Right.
risks might be involved
Right.
in there. So you might be
Right.
less willing to give that person $100 as opposed to somebody who worked at Best
Mhm.
Buy for 20 years and they want to
Mhm.
branch off on their own because they understand what the newer technologies are. So
That's
when you
right.
think about it like that,
Absolutely.
we get a lot less personal about they don't want to give me money, but you have to really ask yourself, why should they give me money?
Why should
That's
they?
right.
Right.
I know
Right.
nothing about this business, and I'm as scared to start the business as they are to give me the money because I have no
Mhm.
experience, right? But even for what you do, and I'm
Mhm.
not going to share that publicly, there are arenas that you enter that you know things that other people don't know. So someone
Right.
investing in you for what you know would make a lot more sense invested in me that doesn't know anything about the space.
Got you.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
That's
Makes sense.
definitely one of the areas in the business plan is looking up the owners and the team
Yeah,
and looking at their resumes to see um what kind of
yeah,
background they have. I'm
right.
actually
Mhm.
I'm putting a loan package to get together for a client of mine who's ready to buy a franchise, and one of the stipulations on the loan for the city of Atlanta is who's your team, who's on your team,
Who's on your
and
team?
do you
Yes.
and we need to know their resume. Well, the owner has never been in this world
Yeah,
that he's investing. So he had to hire someone that had years and years
yep,
of representation in that field.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I have to be on that kind of, because I have representation on that field. Because of me and this one person,
hmm,
we're going to be able to confirm to the reader, the investor, okay, they know what they're doing. They got two
Yes.
hitters here. The owner does not,
right.
but he has hired two hitters. Okay, they're in good hands
Yep.
Got you.
and
Got you.
stuff.
That's good. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
Yeah,
welcome.
no problem.
Another question, Captain?
And oh,
You give her
Captain.
one
You
more
said
chance.
captain? Uh-huh.
Okay, not a question, but it's a statement. It's about you two.
She
You
is
two
too much.
always inspire everyone. I'm gonna clap. You hear it? Both of you just inspire everyone in this room. You inspire me more than I learned in school. You inspire me more about how to do businesses. You inspire me so much. Even I learned some in school, but you learn me more than school. I love ya. I just love ya, guys. You guys are just the best. You guys are the best people in the whole world to learn how to let people learn about businesses. So you two are my favorite. Everyone in this room are my favorite. Everyone. Because they ask questions. Even Skylar,
Yes.
I like
Yes.
you too, but Skylar, even the people who ask questions
Uh-huh.
are doing their best and learn a little bit more. Like if you have questions at school, the teacher helps.
Yes.
Like that. So I'll just tell you, I'm clapping one more time. I just love you guys.
Thank you, Captain. But
Love ya.
so she's actually just tapped into a really important part of the business, leadership, right? Because
Leadership.
who do
Yes.
we want to follow into battle when it comes to business? Do we want to
Yeah.
follow that person that drives nothing to benefit us or is only concerned about numbers and not our well-being, right? What she just said now is a very effective tool for me for leadership because I know that when I lead teams, it is more beneficial for me to focus on those individuals in the team rather than just what the overall goal is, right? We know we have to make X amount of dollars in order to be profitable. But when you inspire your team with the tools and equipment and the motivation and encouragement, I don't have to do much. My team already has that built in from how they feel about the position. So, man, she's hitting every.
I'm
just
done.
happy.
I have one
Yeah.
more thing,
You
but
are,
I'm
and I am
actually
so
done.
proud of you,
I am
Captain.
so
Thank you, Skylar.
emotional
You're
of this.
welcome, dear.
I mean, how we're impacting. This is crazy.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is
It's
very
pretty cool.
moving for me, and
It's pretty cool.
you know.
Listen, for those who aren't familiar with what MetaTalks Live is, I don't know what it is about this particular stage that brings out, first of all, this isn't a moment to cry, but Jen's crying. For whatever
I
reason, this stage
know.
makes
Aw.
everybody cry. I don't,
I
I
cry
don't
like
know what I
that.
built into the stage to make that happen, but it happens on just about every single show. But this is a special topic, and I'm glad that the right people are in here
Yes.
to
Yeah.
motivate you in
Oh
your
my
purpose.
God.
It's amazing.
God.
I'm so speechless. I don't even know what to
Yeah.
say.
I'm just happy for you guys. I'm just happy. I'm just happy. Everyone came for your show and learn about it. I'm just so happy. I'm clapping right now. I'm just so happy.
Oh my God.
I told you.
Thank
You
you.
guys are so. You guys are gonna be the proudest person in the whole world. I'm
Thank
not
you,
lying.
Captain.
Where's my snacks?
Thank
We
you so
couldn't have
much.
had a better audience
Yeah,
than we
I
do
mean, she
tonight.
did it for me.
She,
I didn't need
I'm
anybody
telling
else.
you, I
Listen,
love it.
Yeah.
But you
you
know,
don't need 100 people in here.
Nope.
You really
you
don't.
Nope. At all.
you don't. But Jen and MetaClean and
Yes,
Jen, I
ma'am.
want to say to you specifically, um, just like Captain said, you do inspire me on so many different levels
Yeah, she's amazing.
because you're so gracious with your time. You're gracious with your knowledge. You're gracious with truly wanting to help other people. And me coming in this space, I'm so glad I allowed myself to absorb, you know,
Mhm.
because in the real world we have these obstacles, we have these mental obstacles,
Mhm.
we have these physical obstacles, we have these social obstacles. In here, I can honestly say, for all the knowledge and time that I've spent in business, this space has given me the courage to move forward in what I know is the path for me.
Yeah.
And it's because of you guys. It's because of Coach. It's because
Oh my God.
of Amina. It's because of Venue. You know, these people who I see and talk to on a regular has really built me up. So I just want to sincerely thank you for what you're doing and know that you are changing lives. You are truly, truly changing lives. And I pray that my work will
my
do the
God.
same, which I know
Skylar.
It will.
it will.
Absolutely.
I
Skylar.
believe that. Yes, sweetheart.
Oh my God. What you just said is inspiring me. I'm clapping. I'm just this a pop. Wait. I got how do I get on the stage? I gotta tell everyone this.
Wait, hold on one second,
Oh
Captain.
my gosh.
So Scott, but I agree
Yeah.
because I've met a lot of people in my life, right?
Yeah.
My network includes some pretty high net worth people who are
Okay.
extremely helpful, and some pretty high net worth people who live in that high net worth and feel like they're above people, right? And
Sure.
from the experience level that Jen has, I have experience, but mine isn't
Sure.
really proven, and I don't have a lot of documentation for the stuff that I've done outside of my circle. But we've seen what some of her clientele is,
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
And what she's
Yes.
capable of, but she's still willingly giving of herself in here. And again, we know it's a business, right? But you still don't have to approach things from an educational standpoint. And I can tell you from fact, with all the people I've helped, with all the things I've observed here, the people that are more successful in here are the people that give back and reach back
Yes.
and don't be gatekeepers, right? Because we've seen the people that just move strictly for monetary reasons, and they're never really happy.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how much money they make, they always feel like people are against them, like the
Right.
world is bad. They're just not happy people, and their reasons for what they do, although they may be good, they present themselves in a way that makes you not really want to support them. Because I just don't want to
Yeah.
support you because you want my money, right? I want to feel some benefit from the relationship, even if it's just surface level. And
Right.
because if we play a game, right, there is no benefit to really playing a game other than how it makes us feel. But when we know sometimes the type of person that created the game, we might be more reluctant to go to that world just because of who the owner is, because they know
Yeah.
they don't really value us or our time being there. They just want us to be there to make them money, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
people
I
that
get
approach
that.
it from an educational standpoint, we
Yeah.
want to support those people. And really, honestly, it's more beneficial to your business when you move like that. It really is.
Absolutely.
And that's the other piece that I'm learning as well. You know, I kind of was the type of person I mean, I'll get into all that part later on,
Right.
but what I like is the commonality is giving yourself in service to make the world, so to
Yep.
speak,
That's what
or
it's
your
about.
community a better
Mm-hmm.
place.
Yep.
And that commonality that we all have with each other it's deep. It really
Yeah.
is deep. So this space is really something that I love.
Oh my god.
So now that I said that, going back to marketing, it seems in the meta that the marketing is kind of disconnected because there's not so much marketing that you can do in here other than your associations with
Right.
people.
Yep.
You can in your own world, you can put up a
Wait.
this is how you
Wait.
contact me and so on and
Sure.
so forth. But there's such a disconnect between your your purpose
Mm-hmm.
and being able to share that with the outside world. Um, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Can I touch on that really quickly?
Yeah, I'm
So
not a specialist in that area.
yeah. So this is a thing. I think one of the things that gets lost in translation in this space is
Mm-hmm.
not just the purpose, but the hows and how we do it. Right. So
Yeah.
we are operating now on a very Web3 type platform, but the Web3 connectivity in this space doesn't allow us to make this a complete circle of
Yes.
business, right?
Yes.
Because we can't necessarily, excluding social media platforms, we can't necessarily market this world here without the things that you just laid out, right?
Sure.
So what I always tell people that are looking to create businesses, that are looking to start something, is that it always has to start with the people. Like, what makes people want to find you in the space
Mm-hmm.
where there are 10,000 worlds and 9,000 of them are empty, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
like, I can build the most beautiful world, the most immersive spaces, but if I don't have the people to follow me in there, then what's the purpose? I just
True.
literally got off the phone a few hours ago with a creator who was literally one of the absolute best creators on this platform, but because his social connections aren't there, no one knows who he is. So it doesn't matter what he builds. No one ever comes to his builds. He's having trouble selling worlds because he stays in build mode, building all the time. And we're talking about this creator has 500 plus worlds
Oh
that
my
no one knows
God.
about, right? And I try to slow him down and say, listen, it's not just about the building. Like, where is your community that comes and
Thank
supports
you,
you?
Captain.
And even though
My uncle.
we can't expect our friends to buy everything that we make, right? I can't expect all my friends to show up in
Right.
every single one of my shows.
Right.
But
Right.
what I can do is build my community to a point where my friend can tell their friend, hey, if you're looking for X, this is where you can find it, right?
Yes.
This
Yes.
world, for instance, is one of those places. I haven't used this world in a while, and it is really for this purpose for people to tell their story. But I only have 150 likes, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
I don't measure my success on how many people like the world. I measure the success on this world about what impact does it make. I don't need every
Yes.
seat filled in this
That's right.
place.
That's
If I
right.
can impact one person,
One
this
person.
world
You've
has
done your
served its
job.
purpose,
You've
right?
done your job.
But the
Absolutely.
connectivity of the metaverse, we still kind of need Web 2 in order to get the word out. We still kind of have to go to the Instagrams or the social media posts
Mhm.
for people to understand what we're doing in this space, to bring them in here so we can show them what they're doing. And it's difficult at times, but
Mhm.
I think Coco said it best earlier, consistency.
Yes.
Yes.
You have to be consistent. You cannot stop showing up, because
Yeah.
if you stop showing up, everybody else will. Right? You've
That's
got to
right.
have that show, even if there's two people in the audience.
That's right.
Like,
That's the
it has
truth.
got to happen. And with enough time, hopefully, and the message gets clearer and clearer, it will become easier. But you can't get discouraged because the initial results aren't what you expect them to be. You have to be confident with your abilities to put on whatever platform, and you're going to
Mhm.
present yourself and do it
Mhm.
on a consistent basis by adding value and building your community up.
Absolutely. Thank you
Yep.
for that.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate
One
that.
second, Captain. Purple.
Hey y'all. How y'all
Hello.
doing?
Hi,
Hello.
Purple.
Hey.
Hi,
Hello.
Popo.
So I just want to
Mhm.
add on that. So I think one of the issues with at least in Horizon Worlds is that their menu and their algorithm is not the best. Like I
Can we
I
get
am an
2 thumbs down?
advocate. I am an advocate for
What?
um I am a big advocate for not staying in one metaverse. I tell people to go explore the metaverse. You paid all this money just to stay in one app. And
Right.
one thing
Yeah.
that happens when you explore other metaverses, you realize they have different features. They have different things. So one of my original app is Space, and Space was known for their like their events and stuff. To me, Space cracked the code when it comes to like hosting shows, hosting all types of stuff. Like their menu was amazing. You were
Hmm.
able to look at it online. You didn't have to be in your headset. It was easier
Yeah.
for people to like know what was going on. So
Connect.
that's
And
so
Yeah.
it, and
that's
it
one.
always worked.
Yes. So that's one piece of the puzzle. But another piece
Right.
of the puzzle is, Horizon Worlds focus heavily on building. So people feel like they have to build. And, most builders, it's not all, but most builders are antisocial. So you get these
Right.
creative,
Yeah.
antisocial people that make beautiful worlds, and then they sit there because antisocial people, the introverts, they don't like talking to people. So
Hmm.
Right.
but then you have people like me and MetaClean, who we're extroverted. We love talking to people. We may not
Right.
build.
Okay.
Well, I'm speaking for
Okay.
myself. I may not build, but I still have made my mark in this space because
Yeah.
you have to just like how he said, you have to put yourself out there and talk. And I feel like if these introverted builders come together with these extroverted people, come
Yeah.
together and work together, then we could change the culture in here and maybe change the
Ooh.
way Meta looks at this place. Because right
Hmm.
now Meta has a heavy emphasis on world building, but you need people to bring people into these
Yeah.
worlds. So maybe if the builders and the people like us come together, like I said, we could change the culture in this space to show them like, hey, it's one big circle, and right now you're only looking at one piece of the puzzle, and
Gotcha.
it's a bigger puzzle.
Okay.
So it's just a whole bunch of different factors. I feel like that we need to address eventually as this space grows in order
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
this to happen.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good
Yeah,
stuff.
Awesome
we
points,
That's good
Purple.
stuff.
definitely. I know that MetaClean has a show that are for the creators,
Hmm.
right? It's MetaTalks Live.
Yeah. This is the show. Yeah.
Yeah, that show will definitely break down those concerns and stuff. So yeah, you got a lot of work to do.
Yes, it's
You
a
got a lot
never-ending
of work
job.
for you.
Yep.
But it is our time to close up. I'm sorry.
Wait.
I'm a stickler for time,
Okay.
and we you want to go
Well, you
ahead?
know what? Before we close, let's
Okay.
give Captain an opportunity to come to the stage and
Okay.
say what she wants to say. So
Okay. So, hello everybody.
Hello.
I'm so glad I came to this show. These people inspire me and all
Yes.
of you about your own about your own business. If you
Yes.
keep watching their show, you can learn more. If you keep learning with them,
Yeah.
you can learn more and more
Yes.
and ask them questions, and you got it. Know how to start your own business.
And
And
hence
you know
there
what?
is marketing. That's
Yes.
marketing right
and
there.
marketing on top of everything
Everyone
else.
in here, I love ya.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you so much, Captain. Well, we're going to wrap the
Appreciate
show
you.
for tonight.
Yep.
Jen, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. And guess what? You didn't get spawned out.
I know. My
Oh, we
God, I don't
surely
even know
didn't.
what to do. Let me run out of here. No. Yeah.
Well, listen, we
Now
truly
I know.
appreciate
I'm
everybody
sorry. I
being here.
know Miss 3030. She's one of my friends. I met her in VR
Yep.
camp,
Oh, you did?
and I was sitting there
Yeah.
with Miss Freedom, and this is the first time I've heard her voice, but she's been following me and following me. So
Well,
Hello?
Captain, I
it's
want to tell
nice
this.
to finally meet you.
What?
So I have a world called Smile Town and
Okay.
Smile Town 2. So those two worlds were created created by 4 students. They were aged 12 to 16. And what they did, they made their own stores and they were able to sell their own assets from the things that I
Oh,
taught them
yeah.
in their business class for the
Mhm.
Smile Honey Child organization. So
Okay.
feel free to visit those worlds and take a look. But everything in those worlds were made by 2 students, except for the building.
Oh, can I
Everything was
have
made
one
by the students.
I got one more question. What time is your next show?
It will be every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. That's what time it usually is.
Okay, I might check the schedule to see what day I'm on. Okay?
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
But you can follow. I know you
Wait,
follow
you have a
me.
schedule?
So.
You're 9 years old. You have your own schedule?
Yeah, me and my sister, what day we're going to VR until the next day. see.
Awesome, man.
Oh,
I
okay.
am blown away. Jen, you want to close
Yeah.
us out for the night?
You
Well, thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye
Go ahead, say your
bye.
stuff.
And yes, create, love, inspire, and add value. You know what it is.
And we'll
Oh,
see
you guys
at
are
the top.
the best. See you at
Thank
the
you,
top,
everybody.
guys.
Bye
God
bye.
bless.
You're lucky I got VR on Wednesday. Bye.
You are so
You're
awesome.
lucky that she has VR on Wednesday.
Nice
Yes,
to finally
yes.
hear your voice.
But
Okay,
thank
what's
you
up?
for coming. Oh,
Bye.
sorry.
Oh, there
I
you
am-
go.
I am
Come
so-
here,
Later.
Captain. Come here, Captain. Give me that.
Or
This, hold on.
These
First, give me a
things
slap,
are
slap,
women.
slap,
I'm
slap,
sorry.
slap, slap, and now give me a hug. You are the best.
You too.
Yes,
No,
and
but
you
I've seen it
inspire
happen
me.
before,
You know
yeah.
that, right?
Yeah,
It
you
looks
inspire me
cool,
too.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad. I am so
Yeah, you have
glad.
a whole bunch of
You are
Okay.
adorable.
I'm going
And
to
you
300
keep on
Golden Ave. You wanna
working to
come?
open up your business,
Sure.
I
okay?
need to
And
talk to
open
you.
up a whole lot of different ones,
Oh my
okay?
God.
Okay, I'm going to work more at school. I can learn more. The easy
That-
one, I like.